Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ. Our likely last interview of 2024, a band that we played in the Artist Spotlights on Monday, a band called Waves Apart. We have another fellow Ryan joining us this year, and we've got Chris, two-piece band from you guys, man. How you guys doing? It's nice to have you on here, and likely my last chat with the band for this year.
We're doing great, man. We're honored to be a part of this, so thank you, and happy to be the hope. Let's end the year with a bang.
Absolutely. And Ryan, you don't know this, but I've interviewed like 9 Ryans this year in bands. I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden I went to high school with like one person named Ryan. And now since I moved here to Springfield, like less than 2 years ago, we're all over the place.
I'm actually not surprised, but I was thinking maybe you would have encountered a Brian, which is my my pseudo name at Starbucks. I am never Ryan ever, so I don't know if you encounter the same, but that's my life.
Is it because they think you're saying Brian?
It could be. I don't know.
It could be.
I hope after all these years I enunciate well enough, but you want to get too mad and like roll your R's at him. So
it happened, dude. It happens to me. Someone's like, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm like, "I'm Ryan." They're like, "Oh, Brian, it's nice to meet you." I'm like, "I don't know where you heard of B. I didn't say it, but So I feel your pain on, man. The same thing happens to me.
That's awesome.
So hopefully we can get through all that. We had you guys Monday on the Artist Spotlight. Track from you guys called Nightmare. It's the debut single that you put out. It's going to be back on New on Q this upcoming Saturday night. And before we even dive into the song, this is a pretty new project for you guys. You guys talked a little bit before we got rolling. You guys kind of jammed out, rocked out together in 2020. So what's it been like getting Waves Apart off the ground and getting this band out there, and now finally getting music out there to everybody?
Chris,
it's been really exciting. Again, we started working on this in 2020, 2021. So, there's a lot of ideas being bounced back and forth and a lot of working on it over time where you kind of start to forget that there's an actual end result to it. And then to actually get to that point now where you see it out and see people like sending us pictures of it on their radio, it's pretty satisfying to like finally be on the other side of that after having it live on our phones for 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's been wild and kind of very organic, because when Chris and I set out to start this project, it was more just, we haven't created music for a while. We used to tour together, like, let's do some stuff. We got similar interests, and it really just blossomed out of passion, no pressure at all. And frankly, we've been blown away by the response so far. It's been very like humbling, and we're just grateful. So yeah, it's been awesome, man.
Well, I told you, like, your guys' fans interacted with us like a ton on Instagram and social media and everything else that we've posted. And you also talked about the amount of ideas you've had for band names that are out there. I'll let you guys discuss if you want to dive into kind of how you what kind of inspired Waves Apart. But what is it like when you get a new project going and one of the things is coming up with a band name? What is that process like to be like, okay, we've got the music we want to do now, what the hell do we call ourselves?
I'm the worst with that. I hate every band name until, like there would be one that would like pop out and we'd be like, okay, I think that's cool. Let's maybe roll with that. And maybe like a week or two later, I, would text Ryan and be like, I don't know, man, I think this one sucks now. So
exactly.
We went through a million ideas, but, tried to bring it a little full circle with Waves Apart because this whole project has been done remotely, other than vocals. There's not one instrument that is tracked in the same room together. So just kind of a new way of doing things. So that's where the name Waves Apart kind of was inspired, was we're sending these sound waves back and forth to each other and, bringing it all together to hopefully make some songs that people enjoy.
And to piggyback off that, that was probably the one name where, we went way longer than a week. I don't think it's happened even yet, hopefully, Chris, but both of us felt at peace. We saw it. We would post the name, like when we would send the songs and think, does the vibe match when we're seeing it? Does the story behind it make any sense? And I think immediately with that one, we both felt different. So we stamped it. We were like, that's the one. So it was cool.
Now, have you guys seen The Dirt as well? You know, the Netflix movie about Motley Crue, where Mick Mars's character hates like every fucking band name. Was that kind of like you guys as well for a little bit?
Oh yeah,
That's definitely me. Like I feel like even bands that we all listen to now, some of them legitimately have terrible band names, but you love the music, and then you start to go, okay, like I love Foo Fighters, one of my favorite bands. That's a stupid band name. Dave Grohl even says that's a dumb band name, but you love their music, so it changes the way you think of the name. So yeah, I'm typically not a big fan of some of the band names.
absolutely. I will say that coming up with a band name in 2024 was harder than writing all of the songs combined.
Okay.
Like it took longer. The process took a lot more scrutiny. We were just like, well, so grateful that we finally landed on one that both of us are good with. So
I know, and you guys have a couple tracks out right now. One, like I said, that we spun on Monday. We're playing again, called Nightmare. And every time we have a band come on, especially artist spotlights and getting the new project out there, like what would you want our listeners to know about this song? Obviously, they've heard it. I leave this really open ended. So if you guys want to tackle it from the vocal perspective, the music perspective, just what's maybe some stuff about the song you'd like our listeners to be aware of about it?
yeah, Nightmare was, I mean, as of no surprise, if you dig into the lyrics, it's all about mental health, and something I particularly went through, but Chris and I both kind of went through quite a few things in the 2020 timeframe and since we've known each other. So the spirit of it was it like depression really doesn't discriminate, man. It can come for anybody. So my life was pretty good, man. I just woke up one day and it hit me hard, and I was like, what is happening? So literally the first line of the song is like, once upon a time, I'm happy, I feel fine. Suddenly a change will start to blur the lines. Just got totally blindsided, and then you're just caught in this loop when you're so low and you can't get out of it. So that was the spirit of the whole song. And when you're in those times, like, you feel trapped, but how do you fight to get out of it? How do you fight something that's made in your mind? So we went with that theme, and I believe musically, especially like on the drums, it's chaotic, like you might feel like when you're in a nightmare. So we really try to be thoughtful and purposeful about everything in that particular track to resonate, because everyone's got their own story and they're going to latch on to like what it means to them, but that's what it meant for us.
Yeah, and just following up on that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, following up on that, musically, I think that we, when Ryan had kind of first sent me some of the rough demos he was putting together for the song, we wanted something that was going to be really impactful and have this energy to it that would hopefully, we're nobodies. We're, starting from nothing here. So we wanted something that would hopefully, really grab some attention quickly. And, that to me, that chorus does it. Like he's belting it out, and it's an attention grabber.
And we talked a little bit, you brought it up, you're starting out, like, where do you start musically? Where do you start with a band name? Where do you start musically? And Ryan, you mentioned this before we got recording. You guys have been in bands for a long time. You've toured, you've done a lot of different things. Going back to touching on, what is it like just to start a new band right now with how different things are in the industry? We talked about filming video, recording stuff, chopping things up, getting content out there constantly. So just kind of like the overall aspect, the overall feeling of just starting up a band right now compared to 10, 15 years ago.
Chris, I'm going to let you tackle the content part of it, because he is the content master, the content king. But I'll say from a songwriting perspective, it's really no different. I think, we've matured, and we were in a good place to just crank out ideas and tap into different stories. So that part is arguably a little easier now. I mean, like, I learned Pro Tools and how to do a lot of the tracking myself. So it's less about having to book studio time. I think speed to market is better right now, because you have avenues like DistroKid or TuneCore or whatever that you can get your songs out very, very easily. the downside of that is, how do you stand out? Because it's so easy for everybody to put things out. So we just kind of wanted to position it the best that we could, where it's coming from a place of love. We wanted people to feel that when they listened, the songs to resonate. And then, Chris, I'll kind of let you chime in on all the other stuff to support it after the fact. But yeah.
Well, I think in both musical terms and in the like kind of like marketing side of it, it's just attention span is so much shorter in all
Mhm.
areas. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why we decided to go this route of just releasing one single at a time as well, because we both, when we were playing in bands in the past, it was you get your 10, 11 songs ready, throw out the one or two best ones, and then you ride on those as long as you can, tour them into the ground, and then rinse and repeat. And our idea was, let's just keep releasing one song every 6 to 8 weeks, so there's something hopefully to always look forward to. It's never becoming stale. And that's kind of the same mentality that we've got to take into just getting in front of people from a social media perspective. You're spread out between all these different platforms and trying to understand, what is most beneficial for each one of those. But at the same time, how do you get those things out in front of people without um, letting the music or the brand that you're trying to create suffer? So just trying to be consistent across all of those is it's different. You're not just a musician anymore. You've got to be a video guy,
Mhm.
content creator. You've got to be all these different things. And I know some people, some musicians really like push back on that and get a lot of hate. Like, I just want to make music. But I mean, it's what you had to do, even 10, 20 years ago. It's just you did it in a different way. You went out to the clubs, were
Yeah.
putting your CD on somebody's table. So, the ability to be able to manage all those things, online and from a distance this way, it has its downfalls, but I think there's a lot of really good positives to it as well.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan, we'll film. We'll have trips where I'll go up to Nashville and literally, like, we'll record some songs, and then we'll book a studio or some kind of space and spend a day filming content. That is something that in the past is like we never would have. It's cool because
Mhm.
we'll play the songs live and just film ourselves doing it and then cut it up. But it's just not something that we had to do in the past, and so it's just a different model. And then we'll watch the videos back and be like, God, we look so bad or so dumb. And like, you want to look cool, but we're like,
Yeah.
we're all about being authentic. So I don't know, we'll post some of that stuff. I don't care. Like, that's who we are. So
Yeah. And I think people relate to that so much better. And a question I've got for you guys, and I don't think I've asked any band this before, but you mentioned, Chris, you're mentioning how you cut things up and this is how different things are now. Like, could you 10, 15 years ago, did you see like a pathway where this is something that bands would have to deal with eventually, of interacting more, getting so much content out there? Like, is this something that 10, 15 years ago, you're like, man, I can kind of see where things are going? Or was this kind of maybe in the last few years, like, oh shit, we should probably do some more stuff like this?
I think I saw it starting to grow with Instagram's growth. I
Mhm.
was kind of an early adopter on that one, and as the video aspect of it was introduced, especially, I don't know if you remember, like when it kind of first started going to videos, it's 15-second videos. So it's almost
Yeah.
like, how do you pack in as much eye grabbing content in those 15 seconds as possible? And now, look what it's evolved to, that it's like, if you don't get someone within the first 2 seconds, like, you've lost them. So,
yeah.
um, I don't know. That was something I think you could kind of see the writing on the wall, and then more bands that we would tour with would start to have video guys out with them. I had one in my previous band that, I mean, I saw all the work that was going into it, and I could see, like, this is hours and hours of this guy's day for a 30-second clip, but that one 30-second clip may make you look so cool that somebody's willing to go out and buy a
Mhm.
CD or buy a ticket. So
Yeah.
it can be a game changer.
I'll definitely say kind of the same for Facebook and Instagram were on the rise, I think, when we were both out there. And I would spend a ton of time, not so much on content, but just sitting there and messaging people back and making sure like everybody felt heard. And that cultivates a really strong fan base. So the people that want to talk to you, you're reachable. You're not just, this elusive force that exists. So I believe social media has given us a way to interact and make our fans feel more like family than just like, people that buy your music and that's it. And that's been important to us, man, from the get-go. It made me so happy to hear that people were like going to your page and you were seeing that, because I mean, that's been the kind of reaction that's even blown Chris and I away, is people coming out, not people that we know, just people that we meet, and then they become close, and it's so cool to see, man. Like it's just very humbling. So we feel so grateful.
Yeah, you guys have had one of the most interactive. So usually Artist Spotlight, I always try to get something on. I've tried to embrace Instagram stories. So even for me on my side with radio, and I think radio does a good job of embracing some stuff, some other things it doesn't. And I was like, I need to get better with Instagram. It's not just selfies. It's not just look what I'm doing. And Instagram stories has been a great way to reach out to more bands, reach out to more people. I told you guys, we've had people that now listen to us in North Carolina, in Detroit, because of a band we've shared on social media somewhere. We had the most interactive Instagram story we've had in a while with you guys on Monday, where your fans are coming over and swiping on how much they love the song and sharing it. It's like, holy crap, we might get listeners who are listening somewhere else in the US, internationally. You never know. It's wild. So for those fans that have been with you guys and will continue to grow, what's some plans for you guys for music next year? I know, Chris, you said like 6 to 8 weeks is when it seems like a pretty popular timeline with a lot of bands of getting new music out there. So what do you guys want to do in 2025? We're only a few weeks away from that. When it comes to touring, it comes to new music, like what plans can you guys share at this point?
So the plan will be probably late January. We've got another single that'll be coming out. Then from there, we'll probably, follow that same 4 to 6 week timeline. We wanted to take a little bit of time over the holidays. I know it's not the most popular time to release music, and so
unless we're doing the Mariah Carey cover, which we are not.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no,
exactly.
No, you're not. It's not coming out.
No. Sorry
so,
to
yeah, we'll just we'll keep the consistency there, and the plan is that we will hopefully start playing some shows in the summer. With this being such a new project, we didn't want to hit the road and start really like putting ourselves out there until we knew that there was a demand for it. And maybe, I don't know, the two of us are, we want to manifest that all those things are coming in the future, but at the same time, like, want to make sure that there's people that actually, have a desire for that before we go book some rooms. So looking forward to that in the future.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, the backlog of songs that we have is kind of absurd, actually. So I'm excited. I mean, we've got a lot that we're excited about, and so I think the other good thing that we've seen about some of the recent like analytics is we can see where our fans are really popping, and we'll be selective about the first few cities. We'll obviously do Nashville first. So that'll probably be the first show. And then from there, whatever other markets we start to see really heat up. I mean, right now I've seen Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit. There's a lot going on in the north. So as long as it heats up, I'm game to go.
We got to bring you up from Florida. Got to get back into the cold a little bit.
Right. I gotta hibernate, and then I'm good to go. We'll play some shows.
Is the plan to stay as a two-piece, tour as a two-piece, or have you guys not even thought about that very much yet?
Yeah, we'll definitely have other members join us. That there is no shortage of extremely talented people in Nashville, and there's some bands that make it work with two and fly in all the tracks and everything, and there's no hate for any of that here. I think that's great, and that is it takes an a lot of talent to do something like that, but we really like the chemistry with other people on stage, and you know, we still Ryan and I play around Nashville as much as we can. Just we do some different charity shows throughout the year, and
Cool.
it's a lot of fun just getting on stage with, you know, people that you got a good vibe with, and it just makes
Mhm.
the music that much more enjoyable.
Yeah. So, you know, Chris and I have thrown a couple names around, and we've talked quite a bit, but we'll probably either have some kind of audition process or whatever. But I think it's what's been important. I think about our success right now so far is just the chemistry between Chris and I and the producer that we've got like in the fold with us, because we have history. So I'm a big advocate of making sure that we keep that. There's a lot of talented people, but it's very important to us to have like the right vibe, because people are going to feel that on stage. And, you know, at the end of the day, like we're all trying to be out there and just have a blast on stage, put on the best show that we can, and have that chemistry just in that perfect balance. So
No, it's awesome. And I said Nashville's. I haven't been out of Nashville in years. I visited there a couple times. Love it. Like I said, there's talented people every time. Any bar you go into, there's somebody rocking out, doing something, playing somewhere. So there's a ton of talent down there. Last like question I have for you guys. It's a question I ask any band that comes on for the first time. I used to do as a blog post when I lived up in Wisconsin, and it's funny because records aren't as popular anymore. But your favorite no skip records, your favorite complete albums from start to finish. You just put an album on and you're not skipping any tracks on it. Just a few of them for you guys, and it's been fun. I've asked this question now for a couple of years, and like I said, anytime somebody comes on for the first time, I love to get their answers, because sometimes people are exactly what you think, and sometimes it's shit way out of left field, and it's awesome.
yeah, I have more than one actually.
Oh yeah, share a bunch. Yeah, share as many as you want.
Let me see. Chris, you might have some of the same, man. I was thinking the Concrete Jungle Bad Omens record, like top to bottom, is really solid. Going back a few years, there's a Hands Like Houses record called Dissonance, I think, that at least either the song's Dissonance or whatever album that is on with Colorblind and whatnot. I don't skip any tracks on that one. I'll keep thinking though for a minute, but those two popped in my head immediately. Oh, Make Yourself by Incubus. Another throwback.
Great
That's
one.
definitely a good
Great
one.
What do you got?
Man, probably Deftones. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but Diamond Eyes.
Oh, I thought you were going White Pony, bro.
Yeah, I love White Pony. I'll take those drum tones on anything that I do if I can. But Diamond Eyes, I thought was amazing. Seosin, that self-titled record they did.
Ooh, the new Nothing More. Carnal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good. Oh my God, man. I've just been like, I wanted to write, like, that music inspired me to get into the studio and just get creative, man. The mix and the songs, so good.
It's one of my favorites from this year. Love it. Love that band.
So good, man. It's just future manifesting future collaboration vibes with that band, because that would be pinnacle. I felt like I had another one right on the tip of my brain, and I cannot. I mean, dude, there's so many. What about yours? I'm curious. Do you answer that question for bands?
I have, and I've asked this question like 70, 80 times now, and a few bands have thrown it back at me. So first two Linkin Parks, Hybrid Theory, Meteora are two of the big ones. Slipknot, self-titled. Seven Dust, probably Cold Day Memory and Seasons are probably my two favorites from Seven Dust.
Great.
Yeah, Nothing More. Carnal's really good. Why can't I think of the one before this that they released like right after COVID that I think is criminally underrated? I can't think of the name of it, but Carnal's incredible. Yeah. It's the one between The Stories We Tell Ourselves and Carnal. Mm-hmm. And why I can't think about the top of my head, I don't know. It's got Tired of Winning on it and whatever. So yeah, it's like you guys, like there's a shit ton. You start thinking about it. Like you mentioned Incubus, Make Yourself. And I'm looking back like, yeah, it's one of the first CDs like I bought that my mom was actually cool with, like for a few of the songs. My mom's like, okay, this isn't as bad as some of the other stuff you listen to. So it won her over years and years ago. But yeah, it's a question you guys could just go on forever for, probably.
Yeah. If you had another like 30 minutes, we could sit here and like do a little brain map or whatever those things are called, and just go back by era. So many good ones. Rain City Drive snuck up on me too. Actually, that new record is a really cool blend of like pop and hard rock, and out of the genre blending now is so cool, man. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love, because I was just going to say, you know, I feel like, you know, it wasn't too long ago where it was like you had to go either this more alternative route or a more, you know, active or heavy route. And that like metalcore genre is blending the two so well right now with a lot of bands. And it's kind of inspiring to see that, you know, you don't have to be like one thing anymore.
That's like, Ryan, you mentioned Bad Omens. Like, you didn't even mention Death of Peace of Mind. You mentioned Concrete Jungle. So I feel like that's kind of just, it's like a lot of the remixes. So I feel like right there, like Chris just mentioned, like that perfect blend of, I mean, you've got Poppy on that record. And look at what Poppy's done over the last few years. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. He, Noah is, I think, very influenced by pop from what I've seen and read. And I think just watching him even throw down on social media some alternate versions of tracks. It's just, I think if you understand pop to an extent, that you can blend it very well with really hard stuff. And it's cool. It's really awesome to see.
I don't know. I think it's, honestly, I think radio the last like 2 years, like a lot of the bands that we're getting and the new stuff and stuff you're trying to throw out to people and being like, hey, like this maybe isn't what you're always used to, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. So I think radio's been incredibly exciting for the last couple of years, especially all the new bands that are out, and you guys now being one of them. So where can everybody follow you guys? Socials, website, people want to buy merch, they want to follow you guys, interact, find out when you're going to be on the road. Where can everybody do that?
Our handles are pretty consistent across everything. It's at We Are Waves Apart. So that'll be the same for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have a wavesapart.com. It's pretty bare right now. No merch, but we're going to crank out songs. We'll start looking in merch. So you're not the first person to ask. We just have to pick the what. So if you get some feedback on this, let us know what you'd like.
All right. All right, we'll do.
Chris, awesome. I mean, anything else to add from your perspective?
Nope, that's it. Also have a YouTube that we're trying to start adding more things to. But yeah, I mean, find us on any of those socials, and we're trying to also do better about, you know, putting different things on each one of those. So hopefully you guys, you know, follow us on this journey.
Awesome. Well, be sure to follow the guys again. Saturday night, new on Q. Waves Apart, got the track Nightmare will be back on. So if you missed it on Monday, or you really liked it on Monday, you want to listen again, Saturday night, 8 to 10. So Ryan and Chris, great interview to round out things this year, guys, and appreciate your time.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.